Hey, let's get going with this conversations. False accusations can be deeply damaging, not only to one's reputation, but also to their relationships, your mental health, and your sense of identity. Whether the allegation rises in a personal, social, or even digital context, the consequences often extend far beyond the initial claim. Even when you have proven that particular accusation as false and untrue, the stigma can linger. It can actually be something that may identify you for many, many years. And it's very difficult to navigate public perception, emotional fallout, and sometimes even legal implications. What does it truly mean to restore your reputation after being falsely accused? And not just at work. Think about just generally, because accusations come even in our social context, in our family dynamics, but also on the digital landscape. It's so difficult to actually tear yourself away from that accusation, especially online. Solly Moeng joins us, a brand reputation strategist, and it's been a while, Solly, so it's great to have you back here on Channel Africa.
Benjamin and Palesa, lovely to be here.
Fantastic. Let's go back to this idea of reputation. I feel like we always have to rehash it and reestablish what it is, especially in the era of the digital economy, right? Because reputation is everything in different dynamics, not just how you say hi to your neighbor, but also how you look on the digital world.
How you are perceived. Look, we're no longer in a world where everything that is known about you comes from you. You know, a world where brands walk around with loud hailers. Now people look you up, they talk to other people about you, they listen to all sorts of other things, good and bad things about you before they finally form an image of you. So you don't even manage reputation, you inform reputation. Everything that you do, the people your associates, the people that you are seen with, the people you are or the places that you are seen at, all of that stuff gives people content that they're going to use to aggregate, to decide, okay, this is the kind of person that we're dealing with. So we don't have control of our reputation, but it's always important to always correct wrong things that get said about you.
Yeah. And reputation, like you say, it's sometimes outside of your own control. And that's when this false accusation comes in. How do you deal with false accusation? Because at times you're the last person to know that actually there's this false narrative that's been happening in my family about me. People have been whispering in my life, or people have been whispering at work. People are saying things on digital social media platforms. I'm not there and I'm finding out a little bit late. How do I sort this out?
Yeah, it's actually almost always outside of your hands. How you sort it out is, it's good if you have credible external voices, credible third voices that will stand in your stead and say, but that is not true. Because you fight these reputational battles on your own. The best thing you can do is be true, be authentic, be consistent in your behavior, and basically, reputation is about positively, or 80% of the time, you creating good content about yourself. But you have the 20%, it's almost like you have a military that you only take out when you really need to go out there and fight. So you need to be ready to defend yourself, but you must spend most of your time doing good things. And these are the things that people are going to pick up, so that they say, but wait a minute, even one day when you make a mistake, they'll say, but that's not his character or her character. This is not him. Something must have gone wrong here. But importantly, to answer your question, you need to have other people who are able to stand up with you, people who are credible.
Solly, to some extent, as you said, our reputation is not our own, but we are people who constantly evolve, right? So you might have done particular things in your past, maybe when you were younger, you grew up, you changed some of your behavior, and then you went through another phase of your life, and those people have a different reputation reputation of you, and later in your life, those people have a different reputation of you. So sometimes what your reputation is may be true, just not true for who you are today. But what seems to happen sometimes with false accusations, that people way in your past who knew a different side of you or a different reputation of you might come back and say,
Sure.
this is who this person is, whereas you're so different today. How do you handle that? Because if people from your past, like, in the story of Miss South Africa these days, there's one of the Miss South Africa top 10 finalists, someone from their past, an ex-co-worker said, this person was bullying me back at work. But that could, or sometimes back in school, those accusations come up. And you're like, well, maybe I might have, I'm not sure, because there's so many things that have changed in my life from 20, 30 years ago. How do you handle that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you have done things and you get things that you've done in the past get dug up by some people maliciously or accidentally, and they get thrown at you today, and those things are true, I think it's best to say, yes, it's true. This is where I was. I made mistakes, but I've grown. This is what I am today. Because the thing is, if you lie, if you try to deny these things, then they will make people to dig deeper and deeper, find other people who will kind of corroborate. So you don't have to spend time trying to put a bandage over a wound that has festered or that's festering or that could fester more. I think it's better to say, yes, rule 101, tell the truth, tell it as early as possible, because the more you keep hiding it, the more people are going to dig and find things. And in the case of Bridget Jones, she was very lucky because her former employer came out in support of her, irrespective of what they said. They said, no, wait a minute, everything that we had of her was good. She was professional. She carried herself well, and that's a really, really good endorsement. So you do need voices who can come in, who are credible, not just any voice. You're not going to get some crew to come out and say, because the more credible they are, the easier it's going to be for you to get out of it.
But let's chat about that. Sometimes accusations, even though they're false, don't really rely on what is true and untrue. It relies on the public perception, the perception of those who have heard your false accusation. So even if a credible source comes out and say, hey, this is untrue about this particular person, there's still people who still look at you at a very different way than they looked at you before. And that's where the real issue is, isn't it? How do you deal with that? Because even if someone says, this is untrue about Palesa, this is untrue about Benjamin, there'll still be a lot of people sometimes who say, I don't believe that.
Yeah, it'll take unreasonable people to do that. It's true that you cannot always win 100% everybody, but you need to say to yourself, who are the key people who matter for me in this story, and how do I make sure they have the right information so that I can carry on with my life? But the other people who are detractors, who want to bring you down anyway, will believe what they want to believe, and there's nothing you can do about them. But the thing you can do is tell the truth. The thing you can do is get the right people on your side and be consistent. You need to be consistent, but it's also important that it's known, your side is known. So some people tend to say, oh, you know what, it's not true, I won't even respond to that. That's bad.
Yeah.
Somebody says something to you and it's not true, correct it so that Mr. or Miss Google, whenever people go into Mr. or Miss search engines, they find your version of what was said about you. You can't just leave it to the wrong people, because that negative space, if you don't correct it, if you don't try to correct it, it becomes the dominating space about you. So just tell your truth. People who are reasonable will see the truth and change their mind. People who are malicious anyway will not see it, and that shouldn't be a problem.
Solly, in your industry, the professionals in your industry have a term that they love utilizing, which is control the narrative. You are the storyteller of how you look in your world. You can have the capacity to control the narrative. How true is that? I want us to deal with that after our break. Stay there on the line as we unpack this one. Have you ever been accused falsely, maybe in your community, maybe at work? And how did you deal with it? Let us know on our WhatsApp number, +276 406 9126, or you can give us your comments there on our live stream. Remember, we're broadcasting live on our Facebook page. You can see us live. Solly Moeng is also joining us on that live stream, or you can find it on our YouTube page at Channel Africa 1. It's 20 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time. Stay with us right here on The Move.
Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians. Meet the music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you will be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa
On the move.
We continue chatting to brand reputation strategist Solly Moeng about what do you do to restore your reputation after being falsely accused. This could be on social media, in your community, in your family, even by your partner and some of the closest people to you. Once you've been falsely accused, your reputation takes a hit. Solly continues to unpack this for us. Solly, there are various levels to this, right? We're not all Miss South Africa finalists. We don't have PR companies who are walking with us every day. If someone falsely accuses you, the PR company steps in, gets somebody who is relevant to stand up for you, and everyone is like, yes, everything is fine. That's just for a select few, but for the rest of us, we have to deal with that reputational damage ourselves. And I want us to go into that, right? When you've been falsely accused, even if a credible source comes and says, yeah, that's not true, there's still a restoration that is needed to your reputation. It's not just cut and dry where people say this is not true and it all ends. How do you begin that restoration process?
Well, you when you start the journey, you don't stop the journey. That's what I said when I said earlier that 80% of your time is spent planting good seeds about yourself, so that these seeds form a cushion that buttresses your reputation over time. If you get into trouble, people will remember you that, this one thing is uncharacteristic of you. But you have to continuously be known for the good things. A mistake, if you drive, say, a Mercedes-Benz, it's a good brand, or a BMW, or whatever brand you want, and it's not known to be a car that suddenly stops, in the middle for mechanical problems. But if it happens all the time, then obviously that becomes its character. But if it's something that happens once in a while, people will say, well, this is not what a Mercedes-Benz does or what a BMW does. Mm-hmm. They won't stop buying it. And the same thing with you should be known mostly for the positive things. You don't control. You don't control your reputation. You of course you need to try and control the narrative. But as I said earlier, the world we live in now is one where the narrative is all over the place, controlled by many people. The best thing you can do is churn out good things, positive things. Be known for being a good citizen, however you describe citizen.
Yeah, you spoke about that phrase, controlling the narrative. I think we have more opportunities now to control our narratives. We all have our own social media pages. It's never happened before when we all have these digital selves, these aspects of who we are that are not necessarily in real time but are on the digital environment. How do you control that narrative? Because we have new opportunities to rebrand, to reinvent, and I think these tools are there for us, Solly.
Yeah. I teach this course at the EU Business School, and I say to my students that, you have to be consistent. You have to be mindful how you respond to people. If you participate in conversations on social media, I participate a lot on especially Facebook, but I know that people watch not only what gets thrown at me, they watch how I respond to it. So if somebody comes to say F you, I'm not going to F you back or to people. I don't fight, I don't jump into mud pits. Mm-hmm. And I will not post pictures of myself on Instagram that are compromising, that will push me onto the defensive. So that's how you control your narrative, by making sure that the stuff that you churn out, that you put out there of yourself, is mindful of people are watching you.
Yeah.
They're always watching you. So do you get angry and insult people and get into fights? Do you post fake news? So what are you known for? If something is fake news and you're not sure about it, don't post it. If people start, getting into physical, insults on social media, don't be part of it.
Yeah.
On your own page, just remove them. I block people. I will warn them, listen to it, let's have a conversation. If you can't, maybe just sit back and listen. If
Sure.
they continue to insult, I remove them. There are many other people who want to join the discussion, but don't be dragged into mud pits by people who want to mess you up.
Yeah.
Okay? Because remember, people watch also not only what gets thrown at you, they watch how you respond to what gets thrown at you. And that's very important.
Solly, you keep speaking about how it's not always possible to control the narrative, but you can control your responses. You can control how you have the perception of you put out there. But what happens when that reputational damage stays with you, lingers? So, for example, if, you're at the workplace and you were accused of stealing money, maybe you are in the finance sector, that workplace becomes too uncomfortable to be in even after you've been cleared because you still getting those eyes. But then you move to another company and that company calls your company. It's like, well, yeah, they had, accusations of this. They were cleared, but that accusation itself can stick forever because maybe now you're not completely trusted. You put in another department where you don't directly deal with money, even though that is where you wanted to go with your career. What happens when that reputation sticks, even when you're trying to shake it off?
But I don't see how it will stick if credible people came out and said in defense of you. If your boss at the previous company came out and said, but that's not true, there was an accusation, but it was clear. I would take, obviously you want it to be either in writing or there's a video and you share that video. Then they must, because I don't think the other person would come in and defend you if they know that the accusation was actually true. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
sure.
Tell the truth. Is it truth? It's up to you how you deal with it.
Solly,
I could say,
Well, I'm sorry to butt in. We do live in a world of cancel culture, even on social media.
Yeah.
So someone gets accused, you are, they say, okay, reputational. So sometimes even in the court says you are found not guilty, but people stop buying your music, but people stop taking in your content. People have mass unfollowed you. You've been cancelled.
I'm very active on social media. Sometimes I've had individuals who come in and say, "Oh, he likes white people. He's looking for white. He likes it when white people praise him." There's only so much you can do. People know what I know myself. I know how I respond to people. I respond not to color. I respond to the content of what people say to me. And people will see. Actually, a lot of times people will come in and on board and say, that's not true. That's not what, look at this post there, look at this post. So the only thing, you have no control of the world. You have control of yourself. And don't try to control the world. You can only inform, be true to yourself, to your core, be consistent. That's important. And the world will see that. I can tell you that the world will see that. The people who are detractors will become minority. We all have detractors, and that's how it goes.
Sure.
Otherwise, maybe we must just sit in our little holes and not come out of our little holes. So when you engage in a world of social media, people will call you names. People who don't know you, on the basis of one utterance, they will call you names. You know what I'm saying? But the people who know you for the consistent, interaction, churning out of stuff about yourself, they will come and defend you. Somebody will always come to defend you.
Yeah, sure. So as we wrap it up, what's your take on this phrase? Bad news is good news. I think it is related to this reputation conversation. Should we rely on that at times, especially those who stand out in the public domain?
I don't think bad news is news, but any opportunity to engage in the media about something, when you get an opportunity, try and remember what other messages, what other things you want to say, take opportunity of the attention and express things and communicate things that you might be clearing things that had been lingering for a while. But I wouldn't want to create bad news in order to be in that light. But if the limelight gets thrown at you, then use it, to feed to churn out stuff about yourself so that you are in control of the narrative. It is as much in control as possible.
Solly, we have to leave it there. Thank you for giving us your time. Where can we find you? I know you do commentary on many levels. You do a lot of analysis, even in areas of politics and business and even marketing. So where can people find your insights online?
I've just solely at donvalley.co.za is my email address. I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook a lot. I used to write for Fin24. After, I came back recently from Switzerland. I've been there for 4 years.
Sure.
And I've been working for a political party, but now I'm back into my space. So I'm easy to find. If you Google me, you'll find me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Solly, for giving us your time. It was very informative. That's Solly Moeng, brand reputation strategist, there joining us on the line. Is it easy to shrug off that false accusation, hey? Or are you just a person who's able to reinvent themselves? I know people are able to do that.